Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Karanen, and I serve as Communications Director at LLC.
I'm Sam Royko. I'm a LLC board member and print publications committee chairman and digital communications committee chairman.
We're going to take just a moment this afternoon and share a publications announcement update on some of our different areas of work that we do in this area of work, and how nice to see that most of you are staying seated for this announcement. We're happy about that.
Right. So Matt, we've typically called this a publications announcement, but this time it will be more overview of the communications department work.
Well, even at these services, plenty of people have asked what's up and what's new and what's upcoming. So we gathered all these questions, and we thought we'd try and answer most of them as briefly as we can.
Okay, Matt, so what is new?
We have a few new things that are already available. One of them is our annual Easter magazine, Easter Messenger. It's coming in the mail to everybody who orders the Voice of Zion, and it's also available separately for purchase. It's a close to 50-page publication that looks at Easter from various angles, and this is the 5th year that we've published it. So it's been very well received these past years, and we're happy that it's available again now. Another new publication is a CD called Songs of the Journey. This is a choir CD that was recorded at an international choir camp that LLC arranged last August in Finland, and this recording is also available on Harken and on other streaming platforms. And another new publication that is also available for sale here at services and also online is a book of stories called In the Shelter of the Hill. This was written 40 years ago, so it's not new in that way. It's also not new in that these stories, or some of them, most of them were published in the 90s, early 2000s in The Shepherd's Voice. And now we've gathered them into one book available for purchase, In the Shelter of the Hill.
Okay, so that's one book, one annual periodical, and one music album, so I'm assuming there are other books that are coming.
Well, funny you should mention books, because we have over 20 books in our pipeline that are bumping along towards publication. Over the next few years, we should be able to publish quite a few books. We edit them, lay them out, send them off to the printer as our resources allow. A few that will be coming here in the next few months are the 24 annual anthology, which may be slightly misleading because we've never published one of these before, so you might wonder why it's called an annual thing if we've never published it before. But we hope that it becomes an annual publication. It's a collection of about a little more than 10 writings by North American writers on a variety of topics around a theme. We also have a mother's book. There's been a project here over the last year and a half, where a couple of volunteer editors have been collecting writings from mothers and about mothers, and so this collection will be published early summer. And then, as has been the custom for over 40 years, we're going to again publish the telephone and address directory. Now, I'll mention that just a couple of years ago, we let know that maybe we would eventually stop publishing this telephone and address directory, and there was a minor outcry. So as of now, we're going to keep publishing it. It seems like it's a very useful thing for believers in North America, so as long as it stays up to date, we'll keep publishing it. Speaking of which, you have until the end of this month to update your data if you haven't already. You can go on the LLC website and update your address or your phone number or email if they are out of date in the current directory.
I'm glad to hear that, Matt, that we'll keep publishing it. Okay, so that's 2 books. You mentioned 20. Anything else that you'd like to share about others coming?
Well, I didn't want to use too small a font, so I just listed a few select titles here. We're still working on the history book, and it's about to enter layout, so that is good news for all of us. We have a project where we're collaborating with the SRK on poetry, the kind of poetry you can write in a greeting card if someone like graduates or gets married or has another milestone or dies or something like that. Those kind of verses, and we're collaborating with the SRK on that. We hope to, over time, publish a series of Bible story picture books. We have one complete manuscript. It's about the fall into sin, and an artist is currently creating the pictures for that. There's a book that's translated from Finnish called Women in the Bible. That manuscript is pretty much ready. Another book that is also translated from Finnish is How I Believe. Those installments were in the Voice of Zion. Maybe some of you recall seeing them. And we plan to publish them in book form. And then one that is a sort of milestone in LLC work is a fiction work or a novel. It's written by Heli Jermu. The working title is Time for Words, and that is also in the final editing stages. As we've mentioned here before, we really haven't had very much fiction written by North American writers, so we're really excited about that.
So speaking of fiction, Matt, last year when we were here, we announced the fiction writing contest. What do you have to tell us about that?
Well, when we announced it, we didn't know if we were going to get any submissions or not. We hoped to, and luckily we did. We got 6 manuscripts, and then the deadline was November 30th, and by that time, as mentioned, we got 6 manuscripts. And Sam, I'll let you mention what happened to them after November 30th.
Yeah, the Print Publications Committee selected a small reading group of Print Publication Committee members and a couple others from North American Zion to read these manuscripts. We were really impressed and marveled that God has given gifts to write. And these were 6 full-length drafts of novels. And they told about the life of fictional people, but from the perspective of a believer. And it was really nice to read. The reading group wanted to select 2 of the manuscripts to move toward a publication phase so that the office staff could work with them. And the criteria that we ended up using were the 2 manuscripts that were the furthest along and ready for additional development. And we selected, the manuscripts were blinded, so we didn't know who the authors were, and we read them and gave feedback to all of the authors so that they can work on improving them, and I trust that we will see more coming out of them. But the first 2 manuscripts were selected, happened to be by Heli Jermu and Walt Lampe.
Now, one interesting thing about this is that after the contest ended, we've received several inquiries about whether people could still participate. And we told them that if they have a manuscript, they can send it in, and we'll add it to our pile of things that are awaiting our attention. And even this weekend here at services, a couple people have talked about thinking that they might write something sometime. So I feel like we have lots of authors in our midst, and we look forward to seeing over the next few years how this area of work develops. It seems like there is a need for this, and we're happy to know that there are people who are willing to bring their gifts forward and write.
So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about Hearken? 3 years ago, we were announcing the launch of the LLC Publications app called Hearken. Many of us have used it and enjoyed it. 3 years is kind of a lifetime in technology. How's it going?
We've had our ups and downs. You know, like if you have a 3-year-old child, you've probably brought them to the doctors a few times and maybe even the dentist, and they've had a few tune-ups over the years. Same with Harken. Harken is now 3 years old. We have over 2,000 subscriptions, which we're very thankful for. It also shows to us that there's a need for this type of digital service to provide things for believers to listen to and read and enjoy in that way. Some of the subscriptions are family subscriptions, so as far as we can tell on our end, there's over 3,000 active users of Harken, which is wonderful. I said we've had ups and downs, and mostly ups, but the downs have been that there have been a few usability issues here and there. So we've had to work, or we've taken time to work with the app developer. Mostly the issues have been with those who use Harken on Android devices. Most of those issues are fixed, and there's a new version of Harken available for Android users in the Play Store. We also have had some updates for iPad users of Harken, and there's also a new version available in the App Store for that. So most of you have likely been able to download or update to the latest version, and hopefully the use of Harken is now much smoother than it used to be. If you continue to have issues, we really hope that you reach out to us. We want Harken to be an easily usable application for years to come.
Yes, so if you are experiencing issues with Harken, please submit feedback. A lot of times if it's not working, it's easy just to swipe out of it and move on to something else. But if you could go in the app and submit feedback via the form, we read all of that and take that and want to work with it to make sure that it's a usable and well-loved app.
Also, I guess I should mention that if you don't know what Harken is, that's just fine, but please come ask. It's interesting when we talk about this, occasionally we meet people who don't even know what Harken is, and we don't mind at all because it means there's many more future customers or subscribers.
So, Matt, now some of us have enjoyed the service broadcast over the years. It looks like it's still ongoing work. What do you have to share about that?
The funny thing is that people who are at services usually don't partake of the services broadcast very much, except if they're in their car or hanging out at home instead of being here at services. It's very well listened to by people who are not here at services. We think it's wonderful that people are able to enjoy services in person or via the services broadcast. This has been going on for 5 years now, and this area of work has grown, and it has also shown itself to be a necessary and important part of offering this kind of services experience to those who are not able to travel here to the services. We have, you see the numbers on the screen of people who regularly help out, and we're very thankful for everyone who contributes of gifts and time to this area of work. And because of the volume of work, we are working to move to a year-round model of producing content rather than seasonal.
Yes, and we thank all of those who volunteer their time and energy and are always looking for those who are interested in contributing.
And if you've wondered what the red on-air sign in the back means, back there, halfway between the pizza and salad signs, that is where the studio is.
Part of the work of the communications department includes music work, and we heard about a CD that is coming. One of the subcommittees is a hymnal committee. Maybe not everybody knew that the LLC has a hymnal committee that is working on that. What do you have to share about that, Matt?
Some people think that now that we have a hymnal, a maroon one with 604 songs in it, that we're all done. I think it was it 16 years ago at this winter services weekend when the new hymnal came out, right?
2009.
So not so new anymore. The fact is, if you happen to, as you're singing out of the hymnal or your songbook app, look when the songs were written, you'll see songs that were written like 1700 years ago or maybe like 20 years ago. The point is, songs are always being written, so a hymnal is never ready. We need to have a way, or we want to have a way where people can submit new songs that they have written or heard or translated from some other language, and then over time we can review these and then add them to our hymnal. We're not nearly at a stage where we're going to make a new book. That will be many years down the road. But because of the joys of and wonder of technology, we can add new songs to our songbook app. So our goal is, the goal of the hymnal subcommittee is to suggest a handful or two of songs that later this year, November, we will add to the songbook app, and then we will also send out information to the congregations, of course, with what the songs are, and also accompaniment notes and whatnot. And then the nature of these supplement songs is that they're available for believers to try and to see if they are songs that believers want to sing in various settings, and then we'll likely get feedback and know how to proceed from there.
And if your hymnal app does not look like this on the screen, you'll need to download and buy the new hymnal app. The old hymnal app is no longer being supported, even though it sometimes works.
Lots of people still use it because it works just fine, but in order to get the new hymns or the supplement hymns at the end of the year, they will need to purchase this version of the songbook app.
So that's one area of the work of the music department under the communications department. What else is coming?
Last year here at Winter Services, there was a recording session. Perhaps some of you were here singing, and that singing has turned itself into a CD and also a digital album. The CD isn't quite available for sale yet, but as of yesterday, this album is available on Hearken. So those of you who have Hearken and want to hear what last year's Winter Services congregational singing sounds like, you should look up this album and have yourself a listen. The CD, as it's mentioned on this slide, will be available in about a month. Also, we've had a lot of requests over the years for a guitar music book, a book out of which people who play the guitar can play songs and hymns of Zion. And now we're happy to report one such book is close to completion. It will feature guitar tabs and chord symbol accompaniments, because I guess different guitar players have different methods of figuring out which notes to play. And there will be about 25 songs in it, and it'll be available at summer services.
A lot of this content is not generated by the office staff, but by volunteers, and we want to support those who are interested in contributing and putting their gifts on the exchange table, and there are a number of events to do so. Matt, would you speak to those a little bit?
Yeah, so sometimes people wonder what we mean when we talk about content creators. It might be a mouthful, but when we say this mouthful, we mean all of you, people who I can see right now, you know who you are, who contribute in writing or art or audio recordings or music or editing help. Many ways that people help out in creating content for all of our different publications, both print and digital and music. And one way that we can support and help ourselves, actually, is by providing opportunities for these people to come together and learn together, and also learn how they can help. There's many gifts, wonderful gifts amongst the believers in God's kingdom, and we're thankful to everyone who helps. This past January, we had a Youth Content Creators Day Camp at the LLC office that was well attended, and it was a very nice time. We hope to have more of those, perhaps in Minnesota or other places in the next few years. On April 26th, we're having an online seminar. We'll be sending out information here in the next week or two or making more information on that available. In September, we have a content creator camp at Stony Lake. And one thing that I especially want to mention here when there's people from many corners of North American Zion is that we also would like to support you in arranging these events in your local area. We've been visiting with a couple of congregations or areas about arranging a content creator day or weekend and for this coming fall, and we'll see what comes of those plans.
The Opisto work also falls under the communications department. Here's a reminder for those who have been considering that it's time to send your applications in for the Opisto program. The deadline is May 15th. We encourage any and all who are interested in spending time at Opisto to apply. The believers of North America and Finland have so benefited from this program. It has brought our two Zions closer together, and those who have gone have experienced the richness of studying abroad for the year. We also have an Opisto fund where those of you who are interested and have gone and know the value or just would want to donate otherwise can help support the program.
If you have any questions about the Opisto program, you can feel free to be in touch, or if you wish to donate. Some of you have purchased finished candy this weekend right here at services, and that is one way that, whether you knew it or not, you are supporting the Opisto Fund.
We do this work to help support the believers in their walk of faith, in their endeavor. And we trust that this work will be blessed by God, and that this can also not only comfort the child of God on the endeavor of faith, but call those who are seeking when they would pick up our publications to find peace of conscience and find God's kingdom. And in this way, the work of the gospel goes forward.
In closing, we wish to once again thank all of you who support the work in many different ways and who contribute to the work. One of the best ways that you all can support the work of God's kingdom is by remembering the work and those who, for this day, are tasked to do it in prayer.
Thank you.
Thank you.